Okay, I'm going to take a quick garden tour, do the best I can with this camera. Right here is actually on our deck are all the plants we currently do not have planted. There's chamomile, rosemary, thyme, St. John's wort, stinging nettles. So those are a lot of the herbs that I wanted this year. There's raspberries and blueberries plant. We actually got those on clearance last year at the end of the season, and they're blooming. They still haven't been planted. Tomatoes, calendula, basil, marshmallow, licorice. I'm trying to think, St. John's wort, fennel, more basil, more tomatoes. I think that's about all. And all of these seed trays were inside on our 3-tiered rack that I got off Recycle this year. So we actually raised, pretty much all this is raised from seed. There's, I think, 1 or 2 plants that we purchased, but these were all inside. So let's zip over to the garden. Alright, so coming up here are 2 new plots that we just added. Actually, my husband added this year. This right here, we have a vertical frame up. I'm not sure what's getting put on that yet. In the ground, we have beans. I think we have lima beans and some other red beans or something. Most of them were put in this week, so they're not up yet. Over here, the last plot we added, this is corn. It looks like something walked right directly across our corn. Anyways, so that's all corn was planted this weekend as well. We added another little plot here next to the compost. That's all asparagus, and I think there is some horseradish in there. This is our compost bins. The one there on the left that's covered up and has squash growing out of it, looks like, is supposed to be resting. The one in the middle we currently adding things to, and the one on the right we add dry stuff to throw on top of the active one. As you can see, it looks like some squash or something is going to take over again this year like it did last year. Okay, so over there under the tarp is our remaining pile of 10 yards of leaf grow that we ordered. We've been working through it pretty well. It actually looked like a tiny pile when we got it, but it's been pretty impressive in how much we've gotten done with it. So we will come over here. In this plot here, we have our tomatoes. And there's also basil planted along with all the tomatoes. There are beefsteak tomatoes, Better Boy tomatoes. There's an heirloom brand called Daniel's Tomatoes. We got just because it almost matches our name. And don't think, there might be a sweet million or something in here, but I don't think so. Over here we have our peas. They are taking off. We have 2 different varieties of peas, and you can see this one here. It'll focus. It's already getting pea pods. It's getting pretty close. The other one, still working on it. The rest of this patch is our strawberry patch. When we first moved in, this was 4 individual strawberry plants we planted here along this line, and it's been growing ever since. Our next plot, we have a vertical frame. It needs to get supported a little bit still. It's recovering from last year, but in the ground we have watermelon, little baby watermelons, and cucumber, I'm pretty sure. We have our romaine lettuce, which I really need to start harvesting some and eating because it took off after the week of rain. A whole lot of cabbage. All those holes, we have some cabbage worms. We've been killing about 1 a day. I've discovered a nifty little trick that if you look inside the leaves and you can look in deep, you can see little fresh, they kind of look like eggs, but it's actually caterpillar poop. You know, it's a pretty good indication that you got a worm on that plant, and you can find it and kill it. We have some chamomile planted in there between the cabbage. Over here is some spinach. There's some pak choi. It just finally came up. I think we started it from seed maybe. In here, peek in there. Looks like. And some more spinach is finally coming up. Over another plot, this is some onions and shallots I think that were planted last year. 2 tiny rows of carrots, pepper plants, basil, more pepper plants. And I guess we're making a pesto factory this year because my husband planted 5 gazillion basil plants. Over here is one of our last ones. This is our garlic. Here, Sarah, can you go stand by the garlic? Go stand by the garlic over here. Let's see how tall it is. Right over here. Scoot, scoot. So there, kind of get an idea how tall our garlic is. My lovely little helper. But that we planted last year. It'll probably be ready next year, or next month, or in July, I don't know. Something like, can't remember when it comes out. So we have another vertical frame here. There's some sweet million tomatoes, and guess what? More basil. Then our last plot, we have beets. Believe some turnips and rutabagas, a vertical frame we just didn't take down yet from last year. I don't think it'll be used right there. More radishes, more beets, rutabagas. Over there by another vertical frame is 3 cucumber plants. So that is I guess now 6-minute tour of our garden. So we've got 8 plots now, and hopefully we have a pretty good harvest of all sorts of yummy foods this year. Oh, wait, there's one more thing. Over here, this isn't actually in the fence part, but this tree over here is a crepe myrtle. We just call it Sarah's tree, but it was planted after Sarah was born. It blooms in July, which is her birthday. And actually today I just planted a whole bunch of thyme around it. And I will zip over to my herb plot. This is probably going to have a lot of walking noise. Okay, last thing is my little herb plot. This little section with the tall stuff I dug up last year. We have sage in bloom. That is St. John's wort on the other side. There's some thyme and dill, tucked down in there that's completely overshadowed. And so we just prepared this other path. So we have chamomile, calendula, echinacea, some savory, more calendula, and 2 little rosemaries at the end. Okay, that is all.